Alright, in this video we're going to continue on with activity 133, constraining a sketch. And in this video we're going to look at the section called fully constraining a sketch. So now, we've played a little bit with some of the geometric constraints and some of the different, you know, ways that those constraints are added. We've looked at automatic constraints. We looked at manually adding geometric constraints. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what we kind of have. So the one thing is if you click and drag on any of these lines on number 26, is the sketch fully constrained? And the answer is no, because here's what ends up happening is we can drag on these lines, we can get these kind of crazy behaviors. I'm going to undo this, but it's constrained to a certain point, but it still can move, and you can see it definitely has some different weird behavior that kind of happens. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control Z. There's a little bit of a idea behind CAD modeling is you try to draw things that are to the relative size and shape that you're looking to create. And this really kind of keeps that from happening and having all these kind of unexpected results. So in the section, after we took a look at number 26, if you're following along on the activity in MyPLTW, you'll end up seeing we can add dimensional constraints to try to enforce some of the dimensions. So as we take a look at 27, they go through, and now we're going to look at adding some dimensional constraints. So the way you do that is in your Create panel, you'll have Sketch Dimension. It may even have an icon up there, or you can add it, or you can press the D key on the keyboard to start dimensioning. So the first place I'm going to start with is line 1. And right now this line is we're working in millimeters for our measurement. And we're going to set 100 millimeters for our size. So you're going to notice the whole scale of the sketch is going to go down. So based, or could be bigger based upon how big you drew it. And then I'm going to go around and take a look at some of the others. So the height of this line is going to be 15 millimeters. The height of this line is also going to be 15 millimeters. So you're going to see this sketch is going to manipulate a little bit. This will go through and maybe freak some of the students out because it's like, oh my gosh, it's not doing what I want it to do, but it will, and that's the thing. So from top to bottom, so I'll click on this line, click the top line, 45 is what we're looking for. The width of the top line is going to be 20, and you can see we're starting to get a little bit more, kind of shapes out of this. Okay, the circles are going to be, this one here on the left side is going to be 5 millimeters. You're going to notice since we mirrored those, they are constrained and they are projected together, so that's why we're keeping the same, both of those circles changed size. So the thing is that as we take a look here, 28 is asking, examine your fully dimensioned sketch. Is it fully constrained? So what evidence supports the response? So it is not fully constrained at this point because we still have some blue lines in here. And it says add additional geometric constraints to enforce symmetry and fully constrain the sketch. So what kinds of things do we need to add? So in this scenario, I'm going to go ahead and say cancel. Again, I'm going to take a look at what are some of the different things that we have. Well, one is going to be our lines. So our lines here can go through and they're still able to move. So they're not able to move a lot, but what we're going to end up seeing is we're able to go through and to make some different changes. So this one doesn't move a whole lot because of that, which is good. Here we go. The points are moving just a little bit more. So the question is what are some of the geometric constraints? Okay, so as we take a look, the thing is we may want to go through and use an equal constraint. We want both of these lines to be equal to each other. So then that way they are going through and not moving. And then the question would be, so all we have right now is we can't, adjust this line, but we can move with these as well. So those are going to be some different things that we can take a look at. And as we add some of those constraints to go along, that's going to be something that we can do. Okay, so again, these lines here can be adjusted. looks like we have a perpendicular constraint between these two. Yep. So this is what we're seeing here. So from the picture on the sketch, we can have a perpendicular constraint between these two that be added, and then that would go through, and now it fully constrains our sketch. So now if I click and drag on any of the lines, they're all black, everything is fully constrained, and this kind of finishes up our particular case. So it took me a second to go back through, look through the image to see what we were missing, since we didn't have any dimensional constraints, but we were able to keep perpendicular constraints between these two diagonal lines. So this goes through and finishes out number 29 on activity 133, and the next section, which will be numbers 30 through 35, we'll end up taking a look at design intent as you look to sketch.